So right now we are syncing our list of rooms in two places, right? We're syncing it in RoomList. Here it is right here in state with a base.sync state. And we're also doing it in main. We need to be doing it in main because we use it elsewhere for delete, for one thing. So we need the list of rooms there, so we sync it here too. That is silly to sync it both places. We're doing that because, well, we were lazy yesterday and just decided not to take it out of RoomList when we put it in main. But we're doing a lot more today with it, so we probably just need to get it the heck out of RoomList. So one thing is that add a room is in RoomList and not in main. So we need to make sure we can add a room. So we're going to need to move that into main. So here's my load room. I'll just put it with all the other room stuff. There we go. Add room. I don't think we need to change its contents at all. We just need to make sure it's there. That's good. So then to take it out here altogether, here's add room. This dot add room becomes, okay, we're going to have to pass that down, right? All the way to room list. All right, so let's get rid of this component did mount. Let's get rid of state with rooms in it. And let's make sure we can do something else. So we're going to have to pass it in as a prop instead, right? Let's do it. So that is all the way down in room list. So that's in the sidebar. So sidebar is going to have rooms, which is this dot state dot rooms, which means sidebar is going to get rooms as a prop now, right? And we need add room as well. Add room needs to go down there. So add room equals this dot add room. So that's going to go into sidebar. And then it needs to go from sidebar into room list. So room list will get users and rooms, which is just rooms, and add room, which is just add room. So then in room list, we no longer need to import base. We're not doing base.sync state anymore. ESLint is being kind and reminding us that we declared it and never used it, so we'll get rid of that. So we have this dot add room here. Now that is just this dot props dot add room, right? And down here we loop over the list of rooms. It is no longer this dot state dot rooms. It is this dot props dot rooms. But instead, I'm just going to make a local variable rooms and store it there. So const rooms equals this dot props to rip it out of props. So then down here where I have this dot state dot rooms, I'll replace it with just rooms, just in case we need to change where it's coming from later. We don't have to change our JSX. We'll just change how we set this variable up here. So then we got add room. That seems like that should mostly do it. I can still switch rooms okay. Can I add a new one? What else are you kids talking about these days? Interviews. Tips and tricks. There it is. Did we not make it so that it goes to the new room afterward? That should be a thing. That should be a thing it does. But it worked. How about deleting? Does deleting still work? Ooh, deleting does bad things. Cannot read property name of null here. On that looks like it's way down in room link. So it tries to get room.name and it says cannot read property name of null. So what does that mean? That means room is null. So remember when you get that, that's one of the most common errors, right? Cannot read property such and such of null or undefined. Actually look at those and make sure you're understanding what it's saying. Make sure you understand what is undefined, because this always means that some variable isn't what you thought it was at the time you thought it was. So room.name, if I'm trying to access name of null, that means room is null. How does that happen? Well, that happens when we delete things, right? That's the first step of deleting it. Remove room, we set room square bracket that thing to null, right? Remember that? So there's this weird little moment when this has happened. We've updated state, so it points to null, but we haven't yet synced with Firebase, because once we sync with Firebase, it'll just take that room clear out of the list. But until that happens, it's there's this little moment where the key is still in there, but it's pointing at null, giving us this problem. So maybe we'll fix this with the next step we do. Maybe we don't have to deal with this quite yet, but it's good to know that we broke the delete button. So keep in mind, we broke the delete button, but we'll fix it in a minute. How's that? Yeah, we'll fix that in a minute. But remember that we broke it. But I said we wanted to actually visit the page for a new room after we make the room. So let's do that. That seems like a cool thing to do. So after we add a room, we add that room to state. Then we could, if we pass a function in here, we could say this.props.history.push /rooms/room.name. Seem legit? So we'll just do that anytime we add a new room. So I unsuccessfully deleted that one, but we'll deal with that in a minute. Let's make sure I can add another one still. What else are we talking about? I don't know, stuff. Create the room. It didn't take me there. Why didn't it take me there? After I add a room, I set state with that room. Then I say this.props.history push rooms/that room name. Why didn't that work? Why didn't that work?
You said save to rooms. Shouldn't it be room?
No, when I add the room, I'm actually updating the array. I'm actually updating the whole array. I guess we did.
If you set the current state or the current room, isn't it just room by itself?
Yes, but I'm not setting it directly. Instead, I'm actually changing my changing the URL. I'm navigating to the new page. This.props.history.push /rooms/room name. Room.name. Why wouldn't that work? This should have worked. What the heck is on my hand? It made the new room, but it didn't switch there. Let's see. This.props.history.push.
What's room at this point?
It's the room that we're adding. So if I add nonsense, let's watch the URL and see if it briefly changes. It did.
Yeah.
It briefly changed. So it thought it wasn't a real room, right? So it hit this and said else load valid room. So it didn't get anything out of this.state.rooms when it looked up that room name, even though I waited until after state had been set before I navigated there. Maybe it still happened too fast. Well, we didn't do this in the morning, so I'm not gonna bring class to a screeching halt over this. I can figure it out at home and fix it for you tomorrow. But I thought I had this fixed. All right. Well, it doesn't matter. The point is, we have now taken the list of rooms out of RoomList entirely. It lives only in main. We broke delete in the process, but we'll fix that in just a minute. But our sidebar still works. Cool. So, remove. That's not how you spell remove. Remove rooms from RoomList's state. All right. Questions?